Go ahead. Happy New Year to all. I missed that. Yeah, so Happy New Year to you all. And the new year 2021 couldn't begin in a better way than Bijay being here, being the first speaker of our of the year. And I'm so glad because I had been waiting for Bijay to come here on this platform and share his story because I had met Bijay like one and a half year back, and although a little bit in bits and pieces I have heard his story, but then I wanted to hear the full version of it. And to introduce Bijay, so Bijay is the co-founder of WYN Studio, a creative content studio specializing in audio storytelling and podcasts. He hosts one of the top podcasts in India, The Inspiring Talk, reaching over 500,000 people. On this podcast, he chats with top entrepreneurs, best-selling authors, thought leaders, and celebrities about their journey. His podcast has gained wider accolade from his listener and media and was a finalist for Asia's Best Podcast Award. As India's first podcast coach and consultant, he has coached hundreds of people and helped several organizations launch their podcasts. Bijay has been featured in national media, The Hindu, The Kane, Sunday, Guardian Live, among others. He is a frequent speaker at conferences and events. And so prior to this, Bijay was working as a research scientist in a leading pharmaceutical company. He was clearly losing motivation and drive in his life. And that's when he started the Inspiring Talk. With 15 months and starting his podcast, he quit his job to follow his passion on the podcasting and inspiring people through his podcast. So this is just a little bit, a very teeny bit about Bijay and his professional journey. But let me tell you the personal journey that he hasn't included in it. So when I met Bijay, he was such a loving person. He was such an open and a welcoming person. And just having, I remember just, going for a round with him around the, you know, around the location that we were in, and he was so passionately talking about the work that he had been doing and he all the plans that he had. And I was in awe that his knowledge and his passion was talking all the things. And not just that, I actually connected to him just like that, just in a click. I connected to him on a very personal level, and we shared our own stories. And I instantly became a hugging partner to him. So that is what Bijay is actually. And then moving forward, he had been, he actually pushes people to do things that they really, he actually believes in people and what their capabilities is. He pushes people to do things, go forward. So this is a little personal about who Bijay is and what my take on Bijay is. So let me welcome Bijay, and let's put our hands together for Bijay and welcome him. Now, Bijay, the platform is all your. Okay, so sorry, I'm so sorry. Before beginning, I would just like to tell you the little rules that we follow in Caravan. That is, the speaker would get 10 to 15 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes to tell her or her story. And once the story is over, the audience or the listener would get 1 to 2 minutes to reflect upon the story. And you can talk about, if you can resonate anywhere in the story of the speaker, or if you somewhere you learned something from the story, or you have a takeaway, you can share those things here at this platform. So let's now put our hands together for Bijay and welcome him. Bijay, the stage is yours now.
Thank you, Kritika. Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. And yeah, I mean, obviously, the personal take that you had, it's equally that, you are equally a welcoming person. And that's the reason I guess we connected. But thanks again. Thanks, Rakesh, and thanks the team for putting this together. And it's so lovely to, reconnect with people here. I can see Sivangi, I can see Shruti. Good to see you guys again. And for the people who are here to just, hear my story out, I'll just, I'm just going to make it like really casual kind of thing. And I'll just share my story. And maybe, just maybe, if there are some lessons for us to kind of reflect on, that would be wonderful. So, you know, Rakesh told me like, hey, you need to give me the title of what your talk is going to be about. And I was thinking about, hey, what can probably, define the kind of journey that I've had, at least in the past couple of years. And I realized, I think it's that one thing is something that really defines, and I'll talk about that in a moment, what that is. So let me start the story. Let me go back to my younger days, childhood days. And I come from a very, very, very humble beginnings. Like I come from a low middle family. And when I was growing up, I was one of those, active kids who would go up on the stage, who would go and take the responsibilities, who would go and, do these different things in the school. So, and then later I realized, they call that the personality type of which is, I need to be seen, I need to be heard, I need to be up in front of people. And so that was me when I started. And because every single events at my school would go with me, hosting those events, participating. So I would enjoy being outside the classroom, doing different things, than being inside the classroom and just listening to the boring lectures. And somewhere during that period, we would listen to radio a lot. And, I would always wonder, what would it feel like to be on the other side of this? And what would it feel like to host a show on radio where a lot of people are listening to you, where they are listening to your story, they are listening to you speaking, and then just fall in love with your voice, fall in love with your stories that you have to share. And because I would go up on the stage and speak in front of people, and that, I think, was the dream that I've kind of saw for myself. This is what I want to do, this is where I want to be. If I want to do something in my life, I want to be in the microphone and talk to people, and so many people. So that was the dream that I grew up with. And this was when I was maybe 13, 14-year old. And by the time I reached to the 8th standard in my school, my uncle, he he made it to he got the scholarship in the US university for his masters. And he was somebody in our entire, not only family, but in the entire village where I come from. And not only that, but bunch of villages where I come from, he was the only guy going to the US. And and then in a way that became my dream, that what, this is what I want to do. Now I want to go to the US. And then I started growing up with that dream, because my parents started telling that, what, you should also do like what your uncle did, go to the US, get a great life for yourself and for us, and make some money for us, and settle down there and get a great standard of life. And that's the dream that I grew up with from 8th, ninth, and then and when I after I completed my 12th, and had conversation with people saying that, hey, what, and but the dream that I saw as a kid, what, I think I want to be in the media line, I want to go out and speak to the people. And I went and spoke to a bunch of people, and they said, what, I don't think that's a good career option to be in the media. You've got to go and do something which is more technical and stuff like that. And that's how I landed in that's how, after that 12th, and I thought, I gave up that idea of following my own dream, the dream that I saw as a kid, and started following the dream of going to the US, and that became my own dream. And the one lesson right now, right there was, and then I ended up taking an entrance test for a university to study biotechnology, and apparently I couldn't uh, get into that university. And that was the moment, that really strongly hit me, because all my school life, I have been an average student, but I never failed. Neither I was a topper, neither I was like somebody who failed, but I was an average student. So academically, I mean, I never, been into the place where I really struggled, or encountered that sort of failure. And when I couldn't get into the university where I wanted to be, that kind of hit me. And I remember telling to myself, even if I couldn't get to the best university, I'm going to be best wherever I go. And I think that's the commitment that I made, after I completing my 12th. And then I came to Delhi for my, bachelor's. Um, the first year of college, and in my school, I would talk to these toppers and say, hey, you know what, I can never imagine topping the college, or I mean school, anytime. And how do you guys even do this? And that was the belief that I've grown up with. And first year of college, it happens that I topped the college. And second year of college, I was awarded as the best student of pharmacy. Third year of college, I was awarded full fee waiver scholarship. And the final year of the college, here you go, you have the job offer from the top company in the country, and you are joining as a research scientist. And I joined that job. And they obviously, the top company, they picked top talents from across the country, and there were 15 people who joined along with me on that company, and they sent us for the 3 months of training. And during that training period, I topped that training batch, and I got in. And the first year I got that promotion. Within the first year of getting into the job, I got that promotion, and I was awarded the most promising candidate, basically saying that this is the right guy that we have hired. And I started seeing these dreams of becoming research and development head one day. First year of job, right? You have this full on energy. And I kind of kept running and running until I stopped one day to ask myself, hey, I have been winning this race. I have been running and winning this race, but is this even the race that I want to run? And the answer was no. This was not the race that I was meant to run. Even though I was winning, even though I was hitting this milestone, but this was not the race that I was meant to run. And when that realization happened, when I realized that this is not the race that I wanted to run, the question to myself was, then what should I do next? What is the next thing that I can do in my life? And I had no answer, because that's all I knew. That's what I've studied for, and the skills that I had was to become a research scientist. And that's when the quest to go out and find those answers on what I should do next in my life started. And and I was into personal transformation. I was reading a lot of self-help books, like a lot of us do. And I was coming to know about these incredible people who would go out and do these extraordinary things, who would follow these untrodden paths. And I thought, maybe maybe these people have some ideas. And if I can start having conversations with these people, and if I know about their journey, maybe on those journey and on those conversation, I can find that template, I can find that blueprint that I can follow in my life, and maybe I'll get an answer of what I should do next in my life. And that's how begin the conversations that I've started having in the form of podcast. And that took the form of the podcast called The Inspiring Talk, and that was in 2017. And when I started having those conversations, and there's a huge contrast on what was going on my life. During the day, I was surrounded by these people who would complain about their bosses, who would complain about their pay, who would complain about the food in cafeteria. And during the nights and on weekends, I'm having conversation with these incredible people. And these people would talk about having mission of the life. They were talking about purpose. They were talking about impacting people's lives. And and that was kind of getting into my head. Oh my God, here I am complaining about the food, and here are people who are saying that they want to make impact in people's life. And that completely transformed the ways I started thinking. And then that at that moment, I felt that I found my blueprint. that this is exactly what I want to do. I want to have these conversations and share it with the world. I want to share these stories in the form of audio and take it to the people so that they can maybe find their template. When a mountaineer comes and talk about how being an asthmatic, all his life he believed that he can't participate in the physical activities, and he went on to not only climb Mount Everest but all the highest summits in the world with asthma. And he climbed all the highest volcanic summits of the world. And when I spoke with him, the definition of success that he shared, for him the success was just to go on next adventure, was just to go and ski on the South Pole, and maybe the next time on the ski on the North Pole, and maybe take more people to the mountains. He don't intend to accumulate wealth. When I get to have conversation with a billionaire, all he wants to do is create yet another product and service which can probably impact billions of lives. And he do not define success by maybe going and climbing another mountain. And when I speak with an entrepreneur, for him the success looks like scaling his company and providing jobs to as many people as possible. And when I speak with somebody who is deeply in spirituality, all he wants to do for his life is just to be present and enjoy what is there in life and just be grateful. And that's the definition of success for them. And when I did this, I realized that number one, I went back to that one dream that I saw as a kid, which was I anyways wanted to be behind the microphone and just share the stories and and just talk. And it's interesting that I found my answer in really going back and asking myself, hey, what is that dream that I saw as a kid, which was my dream, not the dream that my parents sold me, not the dream that because my uncle was there. And when I was just getting started with the podcast, when I just started podcast, my parents wanted, obviously, for me to go to the US. I took an TOEFL, and I had a very strong academic background. And when you have that strong academic background, and when you have performed well in the test, and I was preparing for the, yet another test called GRE, and your parents know for a fact that he is capable of doing this, he is capable of turning everything around for us, for our family, for himself, and get the better life. And then here you are saying that all I want to do with my life is just have this conversation with these people and share it with the world. And that was the phase where I was juggling. In a couple of days, I would just go and record this interview and get, feel full energized, saying that what, this is what I want to do in my life. This is so amazing. And others day, like, we don't see you preparing for the GRE. How is it going? And I would open the book, and here I'm thinking that what, I really hate this job, and I'm gonna go and take this next 2 years and spending in educating myself on something that I don't want to do. And after I have invested another 2 years, I'm going to be wasting the entire rest of my life settling for something that I don't want to do anymore. But that day had to come where I have to make that hard conversation, difficult conversation with my parents. And that day did come. And it was the day when I packed all my GRE preparation material, packed it in a bag, and threw it in the corner of the home, saying that, you know what, just give me 1 year. All I'm asking from you guys is 1 year of my life. I want to do this. And if I can make anything out of it in next 1 year, that's fine. If not, then I'm going to live rest of my life in your terms. And I wish it was the easier conversation, but it wasn't. It was really difficult conversation to have with my parents. We ended up not speaking for weeks, especially with my dad. But now, they agreed to allow me to go on this fantasy and see for myself. And maybe they were hoping that he's not gonna make anything in the next 1 year, and then he's gonna go back to the dream that we have passed on him, or the dream that the definition of success which my uncle has set for not only for me but the entire village. And it so happened that after a year, I'm glad that I had that conversation. I had that courage to throw it in the corner and just say that this is the one thing that I want to focus for the next 1 year. And I shut every other thing and I just focused on that one thing. And not only within a year, but 15 months, I quit my job to podcast full time. And obviously, there is no going back. So, but again, so yeah, that's pretty much been my journey. And after that, not only done 100 of those conversations and some milestones, being getting the show. And what I cherish the most about this is the love notes that I received from the listener, where somebody says, I was going through this really low phase in my life, but when I heard that story of your guest who said that, you know what, I went through this darkest phase in my life. I thought my problem looked so small in front of the problem your guest went through. If that person can bounce back and be the person who he is, I think I have it in me too. I mean, those stories, I mean, that's something that I still love, having conversation with people, sharing their stories on Inspiring Talk, and 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 share more stories and narratives with the world. So the few lessons that I have learned along the way, if I have to summarize from my own journey when I reflect back, would be just ask yourself, maybe ask yourself the question, is this the race that I want to run in my life? And is it even worth it, even if you are winning the race? I know it's a very difficult question. What if the answer is no? What if the answer is no, but what? What can I do next? I know that's a difficult question to ask ourselves. Is this the race that I want to run in my life? And just find that one thing in life which you can focus, where you can devote yourself and just follow it through. That's the first lesson. And the second one is, don't let anyone define what success looks like for you. Because the definition that was given to me of success was to follow the template that was set by my uncle. And that's something that it's not that I did not want to follow that, because later I realized I wanted to follow, because that was something that I've grown up believing, that, what, that's what success looks like. And also, don't let anyone tell you based on their success. And I was reading this thing from Deepak Ramola, and I love this beautiful thing, like, don't let someone else's Everest make you feel like your tiny monument that you're building. Don't let them make you feel like you are doing nothing, because you are building this tiny monument where someone is building their own Everest. Because there is no one template, there is no right template of success, and there is no one template for us to follow. So define your own template. As I said, right, for the monk, the definition of success is different. For the mountaineer, it's different. For the entrepreneur, it's different. And if you go and ask the billionaire to tell him that, what, this guy who climbs up the mountain, he says that the success is going and climbing yet another mountain, he would say he's an idiot. And if you go and talk to the mountaineer and tell him that, what, this billionaire says that he want to make another billion, and he says that that's what success looks like, he would say he's an idiot. He haven't experienced what I have experienced in this journey. I mean, there is no it's for you to define what that success looks like for you. And now the third lesson, and I'll wrap up with this, is, even though I have said that, what is that one thing, also, in contrary to that, it's, that one thing can evolve over the period of time. And you don't have to dedicate your life to just that one thing, saying that I'm going to live the rest of my life, because it evolves over the period of time. And be open to the doors of opportunity and see what gets your attention and what inspires you, what makes you feel, what makes it worth for you to run on that race, or maybe get into the field and run again, and what excites you. So that can evolve over the period of time, and it's okay. It's okay to let it evolve and let it change. Let that definition of success evolve over the period of time. And we all, just can experience the life maybe the way we'd want. So yeah, I'll just wrap up with that. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Bijay. And that was such an amazing talk. And what struck me as you were speaking was not just about how you went ahead to follow your passion, but also that this platform and your life story has so much in common. That we started with this platform because we realized that life stories are important. You started sharing inspiring life stories because you thought that people can get inspired from others. So that was one common thing. And then the other common thing, I suppose Kritika found that possibly now she has a reason to check out the GR exam that she's about to appear. I hope she found one lesson out of the story that we just heard. However, apart from what you just said and mentioned, one thing that strikes the most is, of course, that is the core and essence of what you repeated. Is this a race that I want to run in my life? And on that note, I would like to open up the floor for reflections. The rules are simple. We get 1.5 to 2 minutes so that each one gets to reflect. And the rule number two is to just think back and reflect on the incidents in your own life. Just think, did you go through something similar? What did you do when you faced a similar scenario in your life? And then just share, because this is a platform where we share our own life stories, and this is a safe space. So just try to practice being non-judgmental. And the floor is now open. And with that, I would like to invite the yawning Wala, who joins us from Cairo, Egypt. So Wala, the stage is yours.
Thanks a lot, Mudit. Thank you, BJ, for your amazing speech. That was so inspirational. I have a lot of questions. I don't have reflections on my life. I have a lot of questions, so I wrote them down in order not to forget them. So, starting with, I want first off, do you work in a channel or do you work alone? Is it like a freelance thing or a channel?
So I started with freelance, and I did that for 2 years, and now we have started a company, and we do have team of 10. So it's the now we have a tiny startup with bunch of people
Great,
working, trying to juggle through things. So
amazing.
yeah.
That's what I wanted to understand. All right, so wow, great. So now how do you reach people, especially others from other countries? Because I have this idea in mind, but it's related to storytelling, but a specific group of people. Like there's a marginalized group of people that I want to talk about. I want to hear their stories, but they're in a different country. I don't speak their language. I mean, I'm learning it, but how do you reach out to them?
It's mostly so for me it's mostly finding the people who has got really inspirational stories, and these are often the people who have their stories published somewhere else. That could be your TED talk, or that could be their own book, where they might have published the book sharing their stories, and I just try and find their contact, and that could be email address, or maybe find them on the social media, and just I hit them up saying that, hey, this is what I do, and I would love to have you come and share your story with my audience. So yeah, I mean, that's how I kind of reach out to people, and get them to share their journey.
Amazing, thank you. And now, how? Okay, so the next question is, sorry if I'm taking too long. Now, you started as a freelancer. Now, how do you make profits out of it? Because now I think you don't get money from the speaker.
Yeah. Yeah. So, in the starting of the journey, I started consulting, organization. There was this podcast listening app called Castbox. They wanted to expand in India, and I figured out that, they needed someone who can curate the content for them for the India expansion. And, I signed up as a consultant with them, and that was paying almost double the salary I was drawing from my job at the half the time that, dedicating half of the time, so that I have to dedicate half of the time that I was giving for my full-time job, and they were paying me double, which means I have another half of the time to start developing new ideas, working on new ways to monetize.
By
And
saying
yeah.
consultant at that application, you mean you put content on it?
So it's more of a consult. So they were looking at expanding that app here in India, And I have obviously interacted with them a bunch of times in the past, because I did a podcast and wanted to get the show on their platforms and stuff like that. So they wanted to curate. So for example, when any new app, when you launch that app on a new country, then you want to customize the content of that app, feature the kind of shows that is more preferred by the people of that country, not the international content. So I was basically curating the content for Indian audience, the existing content, but I was just helping them structure the content in a way that Indian audience would love. Indian audience would feel like, oh, this show has, I mean, this app has got a lot of shows that we can listen to, which are Indian or created by Indians across the world.
Amazing. And now that you have your own startup, how are things going with that? Do you base your finances on the number of views or on like ads, maybe ads?
So yeah, I mean, so we have raised the first seed round, a small seed round, bunch of months back. So we do have investors' money. So right now, and also we do have a bunch of shows that we're producing. So monetization is gonna be the focus. So we haven't yet been able to monetize on our startup, but that's going to be the focus for the first quarter, and obviously the next coming quarters of 2021. So yeah, it's gonna be ad supported model, but yeah, obviously it's going to be ad supported model. Brand integrations, we do in fact produce a lot of shows for the brands, and they do pay for pay us to create the shows for them. So there are different models that are there, where we are looking at actually monetizing it.
Amazing. Thank you so much, BJ. I also have another question, but I'm going to keep it for now because people need to ask as well.
Sure, Wala. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you
your
so much.
questions.
Maybe we'll connect later.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Vala. And now I get the reason. So usually, like we have Vala who conducts the reflections round. She is the moderator for the rounds. But now I get the reason why she chose to skip it today, because she herself had so many questions. So thank you so much, Vala, for those questions. Now coming back to the principle and the intention behind having reflections is to reflect back on your own life and just share what you want to share. And on that note, let's have Shruti. You have been silently listening to the talk. You are here for the first time. So the stage is yours.
Thank you, Bijay, for such an amazing Saturday evening. I'm so full of enthusiasm, I can't tell you. And I went back to my own journey. Uh, the best thing which you reflected upon is the dreams. Like you never gave up on your dreams, and the way you were all mentioning that, okay, always, where in whichever situation you were, you dreamt big. So that's one thing which people usually just forget about their dreams, and your core dream was there and you went for it and you took chances. Usually we live in so much of fear that we don't take chances, and we just live mundane lives, and we don't even have the courage to face situations. So I think that which really resonated with me, and I could also take some, the kind of went into my journey as well when I was starting an AHA, and people are like, oh, how are you starting on a startup, it's so difficult and everything. But I dreamt the day I was diagnosed with cancer that I'm going to heal people. I really want to do this. And I think this has been amazing talk, and the way you were expressing it was something to learn as a speaker as well. So thanks for a million thanks to Rakesh for always pestering me to come. But I'm glad that I came for this and heard Bijoy. It's really nice.
Thank you, Shruti. Thank you so much. I mean, obviously, there's a lot to learn from you on journey, and we had the opportunity to share your journey to audience using one of our shows. So yeah, I mean, you yourself are an inspiration. So thank you, Shruti. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shruti. And that was uh, sharing your own life experience. As Bijoy said, that we would also love to have you someday in the show and in Caravan Talk and listen to your life story, definitely, which is very inspiring to have fought and won and then be a living inspiration to others.
Absolutely, I think very soon we will.
All right, so that's a
Yeah,
done
Rajesh
deal.
is going to
So we
decide
have
he's
next
going to
talk.
death.
So we have now frozen. So voila,
Absolutely.
now that you can learn from this trick. This is how you get people on your show, and I'm sure Bijay is also doing the same thing. On that note, let's have Rishi, who is also attending this talk for probably the first time, if I'm not wrong. Rishi, would you like to go ahead and reflect?
Hi, folks. Thanks, Bijay, for sharing your inspiring story. I don't know if you remember, we did catch up in Goa in Life Plugin Summit
Yeah,
for a brief time.
absolutely.
So really enjoyed your story, and I think few things that I could relate to is having this very strong sense of templatized goals when you're growing up. And I think I was no different. When I was growing up, I had a similar set of templates that were there, and I think it happens a lot. So I could relate to that. I think what I really found very inspiring and interesting is having the courage to push back on your family, which is very difficult. It's very easy to say, but very difficult to do it, because I think what we oftentimes forget is the amount of emotional power our parents have on us, in very subconscious ways. So it takes a lot of courage, and I'm sure you must have gone through your own periods of guilt that, hey, I'm going against my parents. Am I doing the right thing or not? At least initially, when the success was not there and you were just starting out. So I think that's pretty inspiring, and I'm on a similar journey here. Like, I mean, I think I'm in a different phase of life, I would say. So I think I've definitely spent like many years in the corporate world now. So now I'm sort of financially more stable. So it's probably easier for me, but it's inspiring for me, right? Like, if you could do it at a time when you were just starting out your career, it's actually, why not people who are well settled already? Why can't they take a chance and actually pursue their dreams? So yeah, thanks for sharing your story.
Absolutely, Rishi. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's really difficult to kind of, when you also, you yourself know that, if I
Thank
follow what your parents want, and you also know that you are going to have, so that's basically where that you are going to have a better life for yourself and your family, and you choose something where you yourself do not know how you are ever going to make money out of it, and you are taking chance on yourself, and all you have, it's just this belief in yourself. So yeah, I mean it's definitely the difficult conversation. Still, my parents don't get what I do, but now I think they have made their own peace with this thing, saying that, cool, I think, we got to see you on some newspaper, that means you must be doing something good. So I think it's all good.
Actually, this reminds me. Last week I was in Goa. I was holidaying in South Goa, and I met my batchmate from ISB, Indian School of Business, who's currently, he runs a company called Move and Sync. It's a, I think, $100 million kind of a company. He's the CEO of that company, and I met him, and I was just having breakfast with him, and he was telling me that even today, his parents tell him that, hey, why don't you just take a job, even though he's an entrepreneur and his company valuation is $100 million. I think his parents say that, why don't you just take a job? It's more stable. So I think there is something in our, Indian mindset, I would say, where, we go more for like a stable job, and stop our children from, taking risks.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you, Rishi. That was an interesting anecdote that you just shared. It was more like probably Steve Jobs' parents would have told him that why don't you take a job as soon as he launched Apple? But yes, that's more so in developing countries like India. On that note, I can see Himanshu is writing something, but I won't disturb him. I would like him to complete whatever he's writing. If not a poetry, then something else. So moving on, I would like to invite someone. And whom should we invite? Let me see. Rajesh. So Rajesh, would you like to share something very quickly? So we are short of time. We have more people, so let's try to wrap up in 1.5 to 2 minutes.
Uh, so sorry, long time no see. I'm seeing a lot of new people, new names, and some old names have been absent here. So I was also kind of busy in the stuff. Like I was working on my
Busy getting married.
long time no see problem.
So
So
yeah, so just very quickly, even though if Rajesh would have not wanted to share, but it's on the social media, so I think he would have wanted to share. So Rajesh just got married, so congratulations, Rajesh, and
Thank you, sir.
wish you a very happy married life ahead.
Thank you, sir. Bijay, this story was very incredible. One thing I really I would like to congratulate about you about is you found your calling. A lot of people just live their whole lives without finding their calling. So congratulations that you found your calling and you worked on it. And one thing I really liked about this one takeaway is that he said that don't let others define your idea of success. Like we have different faces, different personalities, different fingerprints, so why should have the same definition of success? Some for somebody, uh, success might be just sitting on a boat and fishing and living a peaceful life. For somebody maybe living a stressful life and making a lot of money. So why should everybody live the same life and yeah, fulfill the same dream for the same idea of success? So that is a really nice thing to know. And one thing I really find very common in these caravan talks is a lot like people they like they have these idea of life template of life defined by their parents, and they really struggle to overcome that thing. So I see we most of us are here are young, and I would really like to like we should make a we should decide like make a think that we shouldn't become what okay am I taking longer? So we shouldn't become what we were raised as, like we were raised by. We shouldn't impose our idea of success to our children, because most of us are young, and when we have children or already have had children, when they grow up, we should be make them feel more free, more mentally stable. So that's what I'm kind of deciding in my head, and I think that's something I should share with you all. So that was a very incredible story, Vijay, of in spite of being successful. Yeah, so in spite of being successful in his area of work, breaking that barrier and starting from scratch something entirely new for himself, that is a really appreciable thing. And and also I would like Vijay to share some. I don't know how podcasts work, maybe I'll know if there are any links or anything you can share with us, so we can participate and see how that works, and maybe that
Absolutely.
will be something life changing for us as well.
Absolutely. I'll do that,
thank,
Rajesh. Thank you so much. And
Thank you so much.
congratulations. Rakesh already says that you are already having the plans. You are thinking about kids. So I think now I love the way you are planning, but I mean, we all need to, right? But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing this, and just sharing how my story related to you on. Thank you and congratulations and best wishes.
Thank you. So who's next? Mudit sir?
I think
So,
we just
so
froze.
hello, hello. Are you
Hanji
able
sir?
to hear me?
Yes.
So I think Mudit is not having a proper network. So I'll take you through the journey of this reflections. And congratulations to Rajesh for the marriage and for future planning and everything. And now I request Monica to come up and share the reflections.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I really like to mention that please stop mentioning about Goa so many times. It's really pissing us off. Otherwise, I have to leave Instagram too. Okay, yeah,
I'm
Bijay.
with you on that.
Yeah, yeah, Bijay, your story was really inspiring, and I'm really looking forward to see your YouTube channel. And definitely, please attach the link of YouTube or anything. And I really love the way you said that define your success, plan your journey, what inspires you. it's okay to involve or evolve. And do I really want to run this race or not? And currently, I think I am also in this similar. There is something similar question is running in my mind, that okay, how to uh, further cooperate myself in the business journey. Touchwood, everything is going quite great. I'm a fashion designer and I'm running my own business, and I'm also trying to grow myself further. And I think your talk is synchronizing whatever I just had with my brother. So many things were mentioned: blueprint, questions, what do you want to do, what do you want to achieve in next for the 5 or 10 years. So that was really inspiring. And thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that was great. And reflecting everyone is going into their past and picking out something and trying to find out what was the template which I am living, and how can I change the template, or what is actually my template at my core. So everyone is searching for that. So on that note, I request, I think Himanshu is done with the poetry or something. So Himanshu, it's your turn.
Thank you, sir. I mean, first of all, thank you for bringing me here, especially for the date, and thank you for such an inspiring talk. I mean, uh, if we talk, I mean, if we say in general, there was nothing different in that. We all know that we all have that template in our life. I mean, we grow with some template, and that keeps on changing with time. We keep on changing our template with time, and that now we want to do this. मतलब if we say कि नहीं, हमको सबको पहले कॉलेज जाना है, then no, we'll go for इंजीनियरिंग, देन एमबीए, उसके बाद हमको लगता है कि नहीं यार, अब कुछ करना है, अभी तो बहुत कुछ कर लिया, बीटेक कर लिया, एमबीए कर लिया, बट अब कुछ अपना पैशन फॉलो करना है जो हम एक्चुअल करना चाहते हैं, बिकॉज वी कम फ्रॉम दैट सोशियो इकोनॉमिक बैकग्राउंड जहां पर हमें बहुत कुछ सोचना होता है. तो आई हैड a lot of questions thanks to Vala. She addressed she addressed many of my questions. For other questions, I'll ping Mr. Bijay sometime. I hope he'll
Absolutely, absolutely. Anytime at your service.
and few things that I wanted to say was said by Rishi. So I said, actually, I was just going through my lines, which I wrote just 2-3 days back. I had shared in my Insta that कभी खुद से लिपट कर रोए हो, कभी खुद से बिछड़ कर देखा है, कभी खुद से कोई तकरीर की है, कभी खुद को समझ कर देखा है. तो आई मीन वी often fail to understand what we actually want. And I'll just बहुत कुछ मैंने लिखा है, बट अब मैं वो जो है आई मतलब इतना कुछ लिखा है कि मुझको खुद नहीं समझ में आ रहा कि मैंने क्या लिखा है. I'll just I'll just wrap up with 2 lines. मैं अपने ख्वाब के पंखों से मैं अपने ख्वाब के पंखों से उड़ना चाहता हूँ. मैं गिर गिर करके वापस फिर संभलना चाहता हूँ. बड़ा मुश्किल है खुद का सफर चुनना, मैं खुद का सफर गढ़ना चाहता हूँ. ये सब कुछ हम सब चाहते हैं, ये सब कुछ हम सभी चाहते हैं, मगर हम कर नहीं पाते. सामने रास्ता होता है, सामने मंजिल होती है, मगर हम आगे आगे बढ़ नहीं पाते. So I'll congratulate Vijay ji for taking that step forward, and now you are an inspiration for us. I'm sure I'll get to learn a lot from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mansu. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Himanshu. And we all were expecting that you were writing something and you were finding what you wrote. And thank you for sharing that. So we have just a minute each for people who are left before we close. So it will be Suman and then Deepthi and then Simar if you're there, and then we close. So a minute to each. The stage is yours, Suman.
Yeah. Hi, Vijay. I already heard your story in 100th episode, and I was very much impressed with that episode. And I took 3 points from that. One is present your half-baked cake. But as a baker, I can't do that because, but yeah, I get your point. Means don't go for perfection. Serve whatever you had at that time. And
Absolutely.
second thing is invest in yourself. So today I was very impressed by that. That always I was doing that only. I am a baker and I'm doing that thing. Small things I means collecting from different zones of the country and different areas of the country to accumulate those things. And today only I only log into some bakery course, and in 3 months I'm going to a bakery chef.
Wow. This
So
is awesome.
yes, so this is the thing. And as you said that you said no to your parents, and you said that give me 1 year. At your age, I was not able to do that, but right now my kids are grown up, and I am doing whatever I want to do in my life, and I am so happy. So this is the thing what I am going to do and what I am doing right now.
Thank you, Suman. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, I kind of opened up about my life and journey, on 100th episode of my show. I mean, glad to know that you have listened to that show. Thank you for sharing your lessons.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
thank you.
Thank you so much, Suman. And thank you also for not taking that lesson of not serving, of serving the bake
Yeah.
cake half baked, literally, as a baker. It's important. And on that note, I'm not sure, Deepthi, if you listened to the whole conversation, but we would love to listen to whatever you could catch up and your reflection.
Hello everyone, and your story is very inspiring, and how you choose your dreams is very. I just like that very much. And you said some people are uh, get happiness, and their choice is to make money, more and more money, and some people climb mountains, and that is. Everyone knows this, but many few of them follow these things, that they follow their dreams, and finally their dream come true. and and you narrated your story very well. And which podcast you narrate your story, I would like to know.
Sure, I'll just put the link on the chat box.
Okay. In Spotify we hear many podcasts, and they are very good stories. And thank you for your story. और बस खुद को ढूंढना है, यही आपने बताया. Thank you.
Thank you, Deepthi. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much. Thank you so much. And probably we kept the last two people to reflect as the elder sisters to reflect on. So Suman being the elder sister of Rakesh, as well as for the club now, and Deepthi by me, my elder sister. So we probably kept it up to have more mature reflections towards the end. And that brings us towards the end of this amazing session we had. We have Simmer, who is on mute on for long, but I'm not sure if he's available. So Simmer, if you are, this is the time you can jump in. And I would request everyone to switch on the cameras for the photograph. So let's switch on the cameras. Kritika, Rishi, Shruti, we're waiting for you. All right, and Simmer. Okay, so I'll, on the count of three, 1, 2, and 3. Perfect. I got it. Thank you so much, Bijay, for that inspirational talk. And as everyone reflected, that we do know that it's important to follow the passion, but it's very few who ultimately do that. And then probably lesser than that who become successful in what they're doing. On that note, the another lesson that you shared was again very important, to define your own template of success. So I'm sure it's going to stay with us for long. And before we end, I want to leave all of us with just one very strong line that resonated throughout the conversation we were having. Is this the race that I want to run in my life? Please do keep asking yourself, is this the race that I want to run in my life? And until next Saturday, take care and bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vijay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bijay. Bye, and thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Vijay.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you, guys.